Education. This is a word that is defined in multiple ways. Some dictionaries define it as an enlightening experience. Some simply as knowledge or scholarship. Some also prefer to it as the process of receiving or giving systematic instructions, especially at a school or university. If that's the case, then today we ask, what is the cost of education?
A lot of people follow. A lot of people are followers. Generally, if not, we'd have problems. We have too many entrepreneurs. We have too many successful people. Like, look how many people go through business classes. If everything you needed was in that actual business class, in that book, it'd be too many successful business people.
If you look at, say, people like Bill Gates or Larry Ellison, Steve Jobs, these guys didn't graduate from college. But if you had a chance to hire them, of course, that would be a good idea.
What is it that business schools are doing wrong?
Well, in the investment field, I've thought that over the last 40 or so years that a great many business schools were teaching nonsense. But that doesn't mean they were in other aspects of other majors within the business schools.
Through education, you can also better yourselves in other ways. You learn how to think critically and find solutions to unexpected challenges.
I mean, it's actually kind of funny. If you think of what is education, you're basically downloading data and algorithms into your brain, and it's actually amazingly bad in conventional education because it shouldn't be this huge chore.
Education earlier on was passed down from one person to another. Aside from natural intelligence, somebody saw the need to share knowledge since not everybody had access to prominent intellectual people, and thus the concept of a library was born. The oldest library known is the Library of Ashurbanipal, dating back to 7th century BC, located in Nineveh, modern-day Iraq. School systems, that is institutions of learning, dates as back as 1066 in Baghdad. As for the USA, on April 23, 1635, the first public school was established in Boston, the Boston Latin School. From there on, the government promoted schools and learning institutions.
Education system is so up, man. Let's talk about high school. I learned a lot in high school, which has not helped me in this career, in my normal life. Let's talk about mathematics. I hate mathematics, man.
So, Kenya's budgetary allocation towards education was at 494.8 billion shillings. Now, what does this mean? This means that it was twice the combined allocation of the defense, health, and the presidency. In short, the education budget made up 5.3% of the 2018 GDP.
Of this, public universities got 20.9%, which covered staff costs and direct program costs. 21.7% went to public and secondary schools, while for technical, vocational education and training, they got below 5% of the budget. Overall, Kenya has over 17 million children and youth in education and training. Of these, 13 million attend the country's private and public primary and secondary schools, leaving about 4 million in tertiary institutions. Getting a kid through elementary and secondary school on average costs about $10,000 US. According to Google, the tuition fees at a Kenyan university are between $1,400 to $5,000 US per year, and it's even more for private universities and colleges, which average at about $18,000 to $50,000 US.
My name is Ian Gregory. I'm the current academic minister, MKU, main campus speaker, serving for the period of 2020-2021. I personally believe that the goal of education is to empower us with the knowledge of life, not necessarily the papers and the certificates that we go around boasting with. Because in as much as we are gaining the certificates, we should also learn the principle of living well in the society.
To a lot of Kenyans, these figures are not such a shock because they value education as a gateway to a better life and future for individuals, family, and the nation at large. As of 2018, Kenya's life expectancy was at 66 years old, with a steady increase of 0.39% per annum. This means that assuming an average student completes his level of education up to tertiary level, then he spends about 16 years in school, divided through 8 years of primary education, 4 years of secondary education, and 4 years of university education.
Now, campus education is one of the most valued levels of education in the country and has proven to be more expensive over the time. So how and why does someone get into campus? Now in Kenya, the government has developed a body, the Kenya Universities and College Central Placement Service,
which is a state corporation that provides career guidance and selects students for admission to universities, polytechnics, technical training, and other accredited higher learning institutions for government-sponsored students. Being a government-sponsored student means the government will pay an average of 30,000 shillings for each student directly to the college, and the balance of approximately 27,000 shillings will be raised by the parents or guardians or loans. The government has rolled out some initiatives by providing free primary and secondary education. This means that approximately 1,500 Kenya shillings is spent per student in primary school and 22,000 shillings spent per student in secondary school. In 2017, the World Economic Forum rated Kenya's education system as the strongest on the African continent. In 2018, the World Bank ranked Kenya as the top African country for education outcomes. With education becoming more and more important, the cost of financing it has not become any cheaper. Most people end up looking for alternative ways to pay, and one of the most common ways is through student loans.
Initially, there was a plan by some people to now capture the students who are defaulted from paying the HELB loan. And I think the reason why we are seeing a surge in the number of people who are not paying the HELB loan is because the government expects that once you are done with the university, then you land into a particular job. But there's now room for the government to also make sure they also have to contribute into that, simply by bringing that effective environment, that enabling environment for the youth to thrive. Because I'm here, I finished my degree, there are no jobs, there's nothing I can engage in myself in that is going to bring an income, yet I have a HELB loan.
A lot of my guys, they used to take HELB, and we used to party with HELB like nonsense, man. But on the low key, it was good. It was good for some people. Let's say, assume that you're coming from a family which do not have that, like the muscle, the financial muscle. A lot of my guys, they used to take the HELB loan, and they would pay the school with the HELB loan, and it was great. It was great.
Student loans date back to 1958 in USA during the space race. Since the space race was intense and Russia seemed to be ahead in the race to put man in space, the government came up with a strategy to finance more people into campuses to pursue science and engineering courses. In Kenya, the Higher Education Loans Board is in charge of student loans matter. It was formed by the British government to assist those pursuing university education outside of East Africa, mainly in Great Britain, USA, India, the former Soviet Union, and South Africa. Currently, students may acquire a 500,000 Kenya shillings loan at an interest rate of 4% per annum and a prolonged repayment period of 72 months.
Ni ufala juu kitu ya kwanza azin hiyo ndio yoko leo mzee, unaona, alafu hiyo long term day ni hiyo stuff si fresh, unaona, alafu hizo madini za gava ni tricky hadi wanafanya hizo help zingine wenye zilikuwa zimepeana before waziri kolo asimu akupewa waziri.
Research shows that 54% of college attendees are taking on debt, including student loans, to pay for their education. 14% of student loan holders default within their first year of graduation. $124 billion is in student loan debts. The consequences of defaulting on student loans are quite intense, and this leaves many people with a burden to bear throughout their lives. In the USA, 42 million Americans carry on an estimated 1.5 trillion in federal loan student debt and 200 billion in private student debt. Research done by the CPFB estimates that over 1 in 4 borrowers have defaulted on their loan debts. Kenya's literacy rate is at 81%, with North Korea topping the list at 99%. Overall, the world literacy rate stands at 86%. Despite this, unemployment among the youth aged between 15 and 24 years in Kenya stands at an all-time high of 22.2%. With insane advancement in technology and information, is our education system up to date with the modern world? Is it worth the cost?